All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the State of Rec Room panel. I decided to do this panel today because I kind of thought it would be a fun thing during AOCon to kind of talk about the state of Rec Room and how we feel about the current state of Rec Room. And I'm going to talk about it myself, and so I thought I'm going to take questions from the audience and everything and ask them how they feel about the current state of Rec Room and everything. So I already see some people talking about some things in the audience and everything. So we'll get to that. Trust me, we're gonna talk about Maker AI. We're gonna talk about that. Um, so first things first. Um, in the audience, not a lot of you here, but I wanna do a little bit of a poll type thing. Okay, so on one side we're gonna if you think Rec Room is going in a good direction, is better than it's ever been. I want you to stay on this side of the room. If you think Rec Room is going in a bad direction and there's a lot of improvements there's more improvements that need to be made, then not go over here. All right, so there's more people that are saying it's going in a bad place. There's only two people over here saying it's in a good spot. I'm very curious to see all right, you can return to your seats. Um, So I'm very curious about some of that. So first things first, I want to say what I think personally about Rec Room. So over the past few years, I think Rec Room has had a lot of problems, but I think they've been trying their best to fix a lot of those problems. And I think they've been doing a pretty decent job at some aspects and not others. Um, so my personal experience with Rec Room with some of their problems, one of my biggest issues that have been in Rec Room, I even made a whole video about it on YouTube talking about this a few years ago, is my big problem is Rec Room's moderation. Now, the last time I've been on, it seems to have improved, but then again, I don't come on Rec Room as much as I used to, so I guarantee some people out here in the audience could probably tell me different if it's gotten better, if it's gotten worse. I don't know. I've heard people say I've heard people say that they get voice banned for no reason, and like I have no idea how true that is, or if that's just people actually saying things they shouldn't and getting voice banned for them and not. Actually, I'm curious. Has anyone in this room ever been voice banned? Has anyone in this room ever been voice banned? Okay, so we got two people here that have been voice banned. Or okay, you that have said you've been voice banned. You've been voice banned? Um, do you think your voice ban was justified? Okay, one person said they think okay. What about the other person? Uh, I was swearing at some. Okay, so I have seen people. Most time I've seen voice bans. Most time it's been pretty accurate reasons. I haven't seen anyone be voice banned from doing anything they're not supposed to, except for once, and that was like right when um most people um most people who get voice banned um seem to be genuinely deserving of it, but like when it first rolled out, but it was all brand new. I heard people were getting voice banned over stupid things and everything. Um, and yeah, and people are people that don't get voice banned. I've noticed that too. I've seen people genuinely be discriminatory and things like that, and they don't get voice banned, they don't get banned. So Rec Room's moderation is still one of its biggest problems, in my opinion. Now moving on from moderation, I actually want to hear from people in the audience. What do you think Rec Room's biggest problem is? Let's look at the one per player. One per player. One thing per player. Hackers, okay. The thing hackers is a pretty lag. Okay, that's a pretty big issue. Yeah. Employee layoffs. Yeah, yes, that was a big one. Rec Room's biggest problem is Rec Room. Um, so I will. Okay, so let me pull the chat on my wrist real quick. Um, so I wanna elaborate on the whole the employee layoffs. So yeah, so that's not really something that's exclusive to Rec Room. That's been a lot in the gaming industry recently. There's been a lot of layoffs. If you remember, there was a story recently about like almost the entire team behind Marvel Rivals getting laid off. I don't know if y'all anyone heard about that. That happened. So that's something how that's been happening. And from what my research told me about the whole employee layoffs was um this is from Rec Room's mouth, from the Rec Room's devs' mouths and everything. If they didn't do it, they would have had to have shut down the game. Now, I want to know from you guys in the audience, do you think they should have either not done that, let those employees off, or should they have just let the game die? I'm curious. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. All right. I guess no one's gonna answer the question. Okay. Um. All right. But yeah, I did hear that Rec Room was personally they were helping get the people they let go new jobs. I heard when I was doing a bunch of research on it. So that's a good thing at least. Um Now I heard someone else say lag. Um who said lag? Who said that? All right, what platform do you play on? Person that said lag, what platform do you play on? Okay, so yeah, Quest does have a big issue on not being ban who? Oh, yeah. I'll do that. I'll do that. All right, there we go. All right. Back to what I was saying. Um, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, lag. So yeah, lag when it comes to Rec Room, I feel like it happens a lot across multiple platforms. I'm not like a super like no it goes into like preventing lag and all that, and I know it happens a lot more on Quest than on most platforms. Um, Then again, I haven't been on any other platforms besides Quest and PC in like years. I haven't touched PlayStation VR. I don't ever go on mobile. And I've never played it on a Pico or any of those other standalone headsets. Um, but there's been a recent because I guarantee y'all can see it right now. Me being a far away, do my hands move laggy for you guys right now? I'm pretty sure they do. Oh well, for me, you guys are. Well, if you're on PC, you're not going to see it. If you're on PC, but like your hands are a little laggy for me and everything. Um, that's not a thing. Um. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Rec Room, when it comes to the things that it's problems and everything, it's no, that isn't true. Sorry, my mind's blinking. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Um, so my mind's blinking. What was another thing? There was another thing I saw that people were talking about when okay, I can't go back far enough to see what the other people said. Some people said something about I was talking about the no, it is not true. That is not. Um, sorry, my mind's blinking. Someone's apparently on an alt. All right. Okay. Question: how does everyone feel about the current situation with with the new features? Like, okay, here's the thing. Classic, classic, classic bean being removed. How do people feel about that? New bean is better because you can choose no nose and ears. So when it comes to the bean avatars and everything, I was actually very upset about them at first, about them removing bean avatars, the classic bean. But once they forced us into the new one, they actually fixed a lot of the problems I had with classic bean. I mean, with not with new bean. There was like a lot, 'cause like right now we don't move at a weird like our we don't have a weird arch when we bend over and everything, and everything moves a lot more naturally. The only thing I don't like still is that like we walk like we have legs. I still don't like that. That's my only thing I really have a problem with. I do like that they allowed us to switch our hands to um I do like allowed us to switch our hands to like use like the old size. I do like that. I do like that because like I think classic beans hands are way too small. Um but with that being said, sorry, my mind's blinking again. Okay, there's that person keeps coming back on an alt. How many alts does this person have? All right, sorry about that. Um, like I was saying, um, okay, okay. How do people feel about full body? I'm curious about that. How do people feel about full body here? I see one full body user in the audience, so I already know you that person clearly likes it. And oh, two actually. Okay, so if it was I don't mind full body. I think it's either decent. I like when it comes to full body. In my opinion, when it first came out, when full body first came out, I thought full body was actually terrible, and my mind hasn't swifted that much, but I don't hate it anymore. Because the same thing with classic bean, I mean with the new beans, they fixed a lot of my issues that I had with full body. Like example, like if you remember when full body first came out, our heads were massive. Like we couldn't adjust them or that they were freaking, they were like airheads. They were um the sorry, my mind's blinking again. They were the heads were a lot more massive than they are now. And going forward, they improved a lot of that. Now, what do people think about Rec Room depending on a lot more user generated content? Like mostly them focusing on that a lot and not doing a lot themselves. Okay, some people say they make it. If you have a question, type it out. See, uh, so yeah, so I, as of recently, looking through a lot of the user generated content that's been made, like for items and everything. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Like I've seen some really cool stuff. I even bought a few things and everything. I figured since we're going to be forced to use Bean, I might as well get some cool stuff. Um, so that's what I did. I wound up buying I think there's a lot of cool items and everything. A lot of people are doing basically what Rec Room was doing a while back, where they would release an item that's, you can clearly tell it's meant to be something, but it's legally distinct to where it's not gonna get anyone in. Like example, I bought a Ben 10 Omnitrix that was just called Alien Watch, and I thought that I was like, so that I hope Rec Room also continues to contribute to cost. They so what I've seen recently that they did slack up on releasing their own stuff for a bit, but they've been putting some more personal, actual items made by them out, which has been a good thing. I think it should be a balance between the two. Um, we got some people saying some things. The Anime Fest items are pretty. Yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot of cool items from the Anime Fest. Apparently, according to someone in the audience, apparently, Rec Room is paying UGC creators um, UGC items under Coach for a lot of tokens. Hmm. I would not surprise me if that's actually true. Moving on from UGC items, what do we think about UGC rooms, like stuff like normal, like usually like user created rooms and everything? And do y'all think we need more Rec Room made rooms, like a new quest or a new sport or anything like that? What do y'all think about that? Yeah, so more RROs, I think. So that people have been asking for new RROs for a while, and we've been getting them. I think the last one was what was it called? Off My Block or Run the Block or something like that. What was it called? Something like that. That was the most recent one. I don't hear anyone really talk about it. Really, because then before that it was My Little Monsters, and before that it was before that it was Make It to Midnight, and then before that it was Showdown. What was before Showdown? I don't remember what was before Showdown. I don't remember what was the last thing added before Showdown. I don't remember. Oh yeah, Rec Rally. Yeah, that's right. So those are like the most recent ones, and I know a lot of people have been saying a new quest, a new quest. My thing is, I'd like a new quest too. Don't get me wrong. Here's the thing: how many people are gonna actually play it? That's my thing. How many people are gonna if Rec Room actually did a whole new quest? How many people would actually play it? Like that's the thing. I don't know when it comes to rec people. They a lot of people in rec room they ask for things, but then when they get them, they don't do them, play them. But then that can also be the argument that like rec room is making poor decisions on how they make their games. Um, but rec room's advertising budget. What about rec room's advertising budget? They can force it on their true. Personally, I don't think Rec Room really is that great with their advertising personally, because I haven't really like yeah, I see their stuff because I'm subscribed to them on YouTube. I follow them on TikTok and everything, but like how do like I don't see any like general ads and everything of like or anywhere else like for a time like Rec Room was sponsoring a few people. I remember. Do y'all remember when Rec Room sponsored Mr. Beast? Do y'all remember when that happened? Um, that was I feel like when that happened, that actually did bring a small influx of players in. Um, but then okay, I remember this was a big this was a big debate for a while that Rec Room was favoring screen players over VR. Do y'all think that's still true? At one point, I would 100% say that's true. But now, would you still say that's true? Would you say they favor screen users over VR players still? I'm very curious what people in the audience think. Because me personally, I think recently from my notice, there's still a go. Yeah, yeah. I'd say more. It's more of an equal balance. Before, I'd say about like a year ish ago, like it was still like screen we're wanting to make sure their screen users are 100% what we want and everything, and I was like I'm not sure how if I agree with that. I didn't like that they were pushing like advertising the game more as a screen user game and everything, but then eventually wider audience after the quest hype died down. Yeah, yeah, that's I can actually agree with that. That is exactly how I saw things. With that being said, though, I think it's been a decent change. I'd say, nonetheless, of a focus on both screen and VR users. Um, so someone mentioned this earlier. Maker AI. How do people feel about Maker AI? I'm very curious to see this. I know some people probably want to talk about Roomy. We'll talk about Roomy in a minute. I want to see how people think about what they think of Maker AI. Kill Maker AI. Uh, indifferent. Not the biggest fan. So me as someone who I don't really create that much in Rec Room, but as someone who really appreciates human creation and stuff like that, I'm not a big fan of AI to begin with. I'm not a big fan of AI generated content. I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of just overall. I'm not a big fan of just the just AI in general, like generative AI stuff like that. I'd rather my stuff be made by people and everything. And I think at least in its current state, it's I think Rec Room literally just added it because AI is a huge buzzword right now. Like a lot of people are just like they hear AI and everything, and it's like, oh, I agree. AI art is not art. Um, yeah, promote our creations like human made, like Detroit become human. That's crazy. Um, but and the thing with AI, um, how do people feel about Rumi? Me personally, I think Rumi is a decent use of AI. I don't really hate it. I think it's fine. It's just a fun little thing. Like obviously, it's still in its infancy and everything, and it's still new. Um, it's cute, just doesn't do anything. Yeah, yeah. Here, well, here, just like maybe I should pull my Rumi out just for the sake of it. Let me pull out my Rumi real quick. All right, so see, this is my Rumi right here. I did I did name Rumi. Did anyone else name that Rumi? Did anyone else name theirs? I named mine. I named mine Lizzie. But yeah, yeah, it's a I think it's a cool little thing. I don't know how much. I guarantee you, Rec Room is going to release like cosmetics for it at some point. Like I see that happening. Like you buy your roomie a little hat or something like that. I definitely see it happening. I think it'd be dumb for them not to. It'd be really smart and a massive money making thing. Because if you look like at Rec Room, Roblox. In Roblox, you can in some games you can get these little pets that follow you around and everything like that. And it's all neat. It's all very very neat. And I think that's kind of the so like right now here's a I'm gonna demonstrate something with me real quick. I'm gonna tell I'm gonna tell okay here's the thing. I'm gonna tell Rumi to stand behind me, and Rumi's gonna say she moved behind me, but she actually doesn't. What's pull Rumi? Please move behind me. So Rumi just said she's right behind me, even though you guys clearly saw it didn't move. But now it isn't that big a deal. It isn't that big a deal with it. It's still in the early phases of it. So maybe they'll fix it, make that better, make it be able to do better than like that. Did find out though, if you tell your roomie to roast someone, it'll look at your bio and use your bio to roast you, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, all right. I don't really have any other. So, in conclusion, I think Rec Room, the current state of Rec Room, is kind of in a decent spot. I think things are getting better. Rec Room is obviously not as popular as it once was. You know, a lot of Rec Room content creators have been leaving. People, especially for good content creation, a lot of Rec Room content doesn't get as much views as it used to, and that's one reason why AO started making vrchat content as well, as not just the Rec Room content, which has been doing really well for us. Which we'll talk more about that at a panel on Saturday. But that's really all I've got. Does anyone want to ask any other questions or to have any other topics to talk about this before I end the panel? Is there anything, questions or comments or anything like that that anyone wants to add? I'm fine. How am I? I'm doing all right. Event page. There are other events in the. If you go to the, if you look for the AOCon event right now going on in Rec Room, if you go to that room, there is a whole room of. There's a whole wall filled with different events that'll be happening throughout the weekend.